What's up, guys? It's Damp, and today I have with me Who. What's up, Who?
Hi, folks.
If you all have been around my channel for a long time, Who was one of the people who helped me with the strategy guide that we'll put in the link. And he's come back to the game after a long layoff and has been getting caught up on some of the theory crafting that he excels at. So what we wanted to do for you today is go through the list of trinkets for the commons that we feel are the top five, and then any must buys. And then what we're going to be doing for you all is having a series that talks about best commons, best uncommons, best rares, best ancestrals, and we'll be sharing it via either Who's channel or my channel. So the first one will go on mine, and I'll link Who's channel in the description when I post it, so you guys can
There's
go
nothing
check
there
him
yet.
out. So you'll see us go into that over the next few weeks. We'll be releasing content, alternating channels, and we'll link them as they come out, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and start with number 5. So as you see on the screen here, we have the Surgeon's Charm, which is what we feel is the 5th best trinket across general use or all classes. We excluded class specifics in this, and that's because in our class guides that we go through on the channel, we actually break down what we feel are the best for the specific class. So these are general use. So obviously you look at the Surgeon's Charm, 15% heal skills. It pretty much explains itself. It's pretty basic. Obviously you would want to use that on anybody you're using to heal the party, whether it's an Arbalist, whether it's a an occultist, a vestal. You can use that on anybody that heals, and they'll get the benefit from that. Primarily, it excels with looking at vestal skills because they tend to heal for the most across the board, but it could also be used for an occultist. Keep in mind that the values are truncated, meaning they're rounded down when you look at using percentage increase skills. The next one we think is probably the next best out of the top 5 of the commons is a protection stone. It's because almost anybody can benefit from additional prot, especially early on in the game. We feel that protection is pretty valuable across almost all classes in damage reduction, and whereas the negative speed isn't great, we feel that the addition to prot is more valuable. So from here, we're going to pass it on to Who and let him cover the top 3.
Well, I hope I've got this right. For number 3, we have the Warrior's Bracelet. Now, this is a plus damage item for melee skills only. The downside of this item is the -4 dodge. Now, me and Damp had a little quick discussion about this, and we feel this item is fantastic early game full stop because it allows you to get through dungeons really quick. You do suffer the negative side of the dodge, but later on it becomes fantastic for third row damages like the Houndmaster, the Hellion, and the Bounty Hunter. Not much more you can say after that. Going on to number 2, we have the Slippery Boots.
Damp does not have any slippery boots currently, so that's why this hole is here. So slippery boots go here.
Right, so the Slippery Boots are +4 dodge with a -20 move resist. Now, as you can imagine, coupled with the aforementioned Warrior's Braces, this makes for high damage output with no real downside. Move resist only really comes into effect when you're fighting later on monsters, things that do the stress incantations that push and pull. It can be a little bit of a problem, but 4 dodge is 4 dodge. You can't really go wrong with that. And my personal number 1 guide, and this for me is a personal must buy if you don't have one, is the Survival Guide. Now, looking at its stats of plus 10% scouting, plus 10% trap disarm, and -1 speed, it doesn't look like a massively good trinket until you think of the money it will save you. Increased scouting gives you the opportunity, the higher chances of not being surprised and or surprising your enemies, which make things easier. It allows you to avoid combats in certain situations, which reduce incoming stress. And there's your gold saving. Again, on the gold saving, trap disarm. Not being hit by traps can not only save a party member's life, but not make them not make them suffer to massive amounts of stress from said traps. And that's all I'm going to say on that one. It speaks for itself.
The other thing I would add with a trap disarm is keep in mind that not only does it reduce incoming stress by stepping on a trap, but disarming it is a stress reduction, usually of somewhere between 6 and 8 stress to whoever disarms that particular trap. So there's value in that as well. I definitely agree that survival guide is one of the better ones, the better trinkets in the common setup. But I would also say that you only really need one, because typically you only have one utility character that's going through, and you know, going to be that person that you rely on to scout, whether it's a grave robber, a houndmaster, whatever. Whereas some of these other ones you could take additional per party run.
The survival guide is that one trinket which you look at your party build up and go, well, I haven't got a trinket for this guy. Stick a survival guide in it.
Yeah. Yep. So who's must buy? Obviously, he just talked to you guys through it as a survival guide. Personally, for me, I don't really feel that any of these are a must buy when you're early on. Now, the caveat I would give you is if I had to pick a must buy, it's not one that I feel is for all general use. It's when you go to the darkest dungeon, the first darkest dungeon run, spoiler alert, mute your speakers if you don't want it. First darkest dungeon run, the bleed resist is very important, because it makes your life miserable going through that first dungeon. Now, I don't think you need to use this on everybody, but you could be selective on who carries this when you go through the darkest dungeon run. So just an idea there. And then the other one I have here is like a takeaway, is honorable mention, is the Bloodthirst Ring. Many of you asked me, you know, Damp, how do I save gold? How did you get to 1,000,000 gold? What did that look like? And part of the reason was early on in the game I ran the Bloodthirst Ring. And by running the Bloodthirst Ring on almost all my characters, I never had to buy food. And sure, you don't get the dodge effect, but you don't have to buy food. So it can save you quite a bit of money early on when there is that gold bottleneck.
And it is fantastically paired with the slippery boots we mentioned before.
So
oh, go on. Sorry.
that's really my thoughts on a must-buy. I don't really have a must-buy in here. Now, there may be must-buys that are class-oriented, but generally speaking, we don't have any that are must-buys, in my opinion. But I would agree with the survival guide. If anything, that's the one. So, you got anything else?
None. That's about it. We're just going to continue on recording these and do the rest. Ooh.
So we will see you guys in the next one. We'll link the uncommon trinkets that we feel are the top 5 in the game. So see you in the next video.
Bye.